Hey everyone, so yeah, it is TGIF. It's Friday, February 7th, 2025, 3:48 p.m. in the afternoon. Drinking a little coffee here. I woke up several hours ago, kind of got myself together and everything, and took care of some other stuff. But I wanted to come on here because this month, actually this week, if not last weekend, actually marked 30 years. That's right. Actually, 3 days ago, this week, I should say, marked 30 years since the last Sonic SatAM episode aired on ABC in reruns for Season 2. And you might ask, well, what do I mean? Well, we know that December 3rd, according to Wikipedia and other outlets, December 3rd is when the Season 2, what was supposed to be the Season 2 finale, Doomsday Project, we know that's when it aired. And afterwards, we know they were going to take Season 2 into reruns. So if I look at the calendar I have here on my computer, and I kind of scroll back the hands of time, and we go to December of 1994, we know that reruns would have began on December 10th. Now December 10th, if memory serves me correctly, December 10th was going to be the rerun of Game Guy, the episode that started Season 2, introduced us to Ari. December 17th would have been Sonic Conversion. Then Christmas Eve would have been No Brainer, and then New Year's Eve would have been Blast of the Past Part 1. Then January 7th would have been Blast of the Past Part 2. Then January 14th would have been Fed Up with Antoine and Ghostbusted, the first two Antoine episodes. Then January 21st would have been Dulcie. And then January 28th, the last significant episode to kind of, get us into what would be what I call the Doomsday Project saga. I guess you could say the prologue episode, The Void, aired on January 28th. And then I think if they did air anything, like I said, if memory serves me correctly, on February 4th, I should say, if they did air anything on February 4th, it was The Odd Couple and Rebecca, the last two Antoine shorts. But if not, then basically the last significant episode, period, was The Void on January 28th. And then, like I said, if there was something on the 4th, it was the last two Antoine episodes, and then that was it. Now, for a while, we had no idea what happened. We had no idea, specifically what occurred. We all heard rumors and everything throughout the years of it was Power Rangers in the same time slot. We had heard of preemptions going on because of college sports, NFL, so on. But we never really got a definitive answer. And all signs did point to a lot of what I mentioned, mostly Power Rangers. But it wasn't until recently, and shout out to Alex Hitchfox, for bringing this up, because I talked about this before, and others talked about this before. There was rumor, going around. There was theories and speculations going around that even the late Ben Hurst, who's the primary Season 2 writer for the show, kind of denied, because he believed, honestly, that there was no truth to this. There was no way the DIC would do this. They would, go in this direction. They would do this and jeopardize the future of the show. But yet, as we found out, as of last month and towards the end of last year, that's exactly the case. And what that was that DIC was selling cells and storyboards of the show to unknown, I guess you could say, bidders, purchasers, parties, if you will, without Sega's consent. Because, as the contract stated, Sega of America, Sega of Japan, but primarily Sega of America, owned all rights to both animated shows that came on at that time, all the characters, all the props, everything, including storyboards and cells. Indeed, DIC was basically selling all this to unknown parties, bidders and all that, without the consent. So what did Sega do in retaliation? They went to court, filed an injunction, and basically placed a cease and desist on the show ever continuing airing, even in reruns. All because Deke, Deke Entertainment, without the consent of Sega, decided, hey, we're producing the show, we're creating the show, we have all the rights, right? So what did they do? Believing that, they went and did what they did. And 30 years later, and 30 years later, we now know the truth as to what happened. Because I guarantee you, if Deke Entertainment didn't do that, then I guarantee you the show would have continued on up until a third season. It would have. I think we were guaranteed to get a third season. I think Ben Hurst, if he was alive, God rest his soul, but if he was still alive, I guarantee you Ben would look at this and be like, so we could have had that third season, but Deke did something I thought they wouldn't? Because you can't tell me if Ben was still alive, he wouldn't have that, reaction. I guarantee you, Pat Ali, who worked closely with Ben, and Lynn Johnson, who worked closely with Ben, on the show, they were probably thinking the same thing. Now, I don't know if they had any idea about what was going on. That's another story for another day. But obviously, they probably had the same reaction a lot of us did once this news came out. Like, wait a minute. So we could have continued the show, except those higher up maybe than us, at Deke, decided to go behind the company's back and sell the property that they didn't have rights to. Again, I'm not saying that they didn't know what was going on, but still, it's like when you really think about it, it's not hard to fathom that maybe they would feel the same way that Ben, who's looking down right now, I guarantee, hearing about this from heaven above, going like, so I could have had the show continue. I could have had that third season. And and when you really think about it, Deke at that time has no one but themselves to blame. Now, I guarantee you that, let's be honest, I guarantee you Deke probably didn't fully know what was going on. That what got them in trouble is maybe those that were animating the show figured, oh, we got the rights to do whatever we want, we're going to sell this stuff. And those animators, because they got caught and caused Deke to lose the licensing and, the airing licensing, if you will, for the show at the time, for both shows, basically they realized, those people probably lost their jobs, and now looking back and hearing that, hey, this is what came about it, they're probably realizing, if they didn't already realize, because they had to be in court when this happened, they're probably being like, yeah, maybe we should have read the fine print in the contracts, But yeah, it is hard to believe that this week marks 30 years since the last SatAM episode was aired on ABC. And that was in reruns. Now, you might say, well, that's not technically true, Brian. Well, that's all depending on how you view it. The way I remember it, honestly, is they would always rerun the episodes. Back to back or singly or individually, I should say. They would always, rerun the episodes back to back. Not back to back, but they would rerun the episodes weekly on Saturday mornings to catch you up on that season prior to the new season coming out. And that's what they were doing with season 2. Right after Doomsday Project ended, they started rerunning the episodes, so that way if you couldn't catch them when they came on, you could catch them again. Or if you couldn't record them when they came on, you could record them again. And so on. So they just, did what they were doing normally, and then all of a sudden, basically ABC, I'm pretty sure of this, got wind that they have to take the show off the air and everything, and they were probably confused and all that until probably they got word from Sega, because I'm sure they asked Deke Entertainment what was going on, and Dick probably denied to them, oh, it was just, Sega being petty, or Sega just doesn't want us to, do this anymore, or wants this in the show and all. I'm pretty sure some of the higher ups there came up with some excuses as to why Sega pulled the plug. But I guarantee you some at ABC went above them, went to Sega, and they probably found out, which is why they didn't have a problem being like, okay, no problem. We could just air an extra episode of Free Willy, or, air an extra episode of Crow. That caveman show that they did. But yeah, it's just hard to believe that 30 years later, especially this being that anniversary of when the last episode came out, it's hard to believe that now the truth is revealed that it wasn't, Power Rangers, it wasn't preemptions, although they did play a factor, that the main catalyst was those at Deke Entertainment selling off, storyboards and cells that they had no right to do. They had no right to do, period, while the show contractually was still on the air and everything. So, yeah, it's hard to believe it's been 30 years since the last episode. But I just wanted to come on here and talk about that, guys. Give me your thoughts down below and in the comment section. Down below in the comment section, as well as in the live chat during the premiere, if you'd like. Also, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel. Also, click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere. Find me at all your favorite audio and video podcast affiliates like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Radio Public, Spotify, Audible, Pandora, Overcast. Wherever there's a podcast being aired, you'll probably find mine there as well. Also find me at VENMO.com at BWRoses, Rumble.com at BWRoses, Odyssey.com at BWRoses. Also check me out at DeviantArt.com at BVW1979. Also check me out at InkBunny.net at BWRoses. Also check out the Teespring store for merchandise you can't get anywhere else. Also find me at Venmo and Cash App to help support the show, support the channel there. Also check me out at Patreon.com at BWRoses. And find me on Twitter /X at BWRoses and at Blue Sky at BWRoses. But guys, give me your thoughts down below. What are your thoughts on this whole scenario? How do you feel about the fact that on the 30th anniversary of the last episode being aired, that we now know pretty much the main catalyst, outside of Power Rangers and preemptions kind of playing a part, the main catalyst being, Deke Entertainment, have people selling out storyboards and stuff that they didn't have permission to do. But let me know, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are. And until then, I am out.